Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck. My name is Adam Orduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He's the journalist.
She's the enthusiast. So today we are going to be talking about a little bit more NBA talk.
Wrapping up, finally.
Yeah, going back to the wrap up with the NBA season. And we just actually had the NBA Draft, the 2016 NBA Draft last night. So we're going to talk about some of those guys and just how it all kind of coincides with the season and how it ended.
Wraps it up.
Yeah, so you watched the NBA Draft a little bit.
Yeah.
And what was your feeling and your take of it, I guess, in comparison to what the NFL draft can be like or some of the other drafts?
Well, I'm going to give you my very professional analytic assessment here.
It was like that?
It was wah. I mean, okay, maybe it wasn't a total, it was more of a wah-wah.
Sure.
It was a bit of a snoozer. I think the way the NBA does it, it's kind of like with the NFL. You kind of know who's going to go first overall, second overall. We all knew. These guys that came out, they're all good. I'm happy for them.
Right.
Some of them I'm big fans of, Ingram, Simmons. But at the end of the day, it wasn't like in years past where there was just this great excitement about it.
Well, I kind of feel the same with the NFL draft. It was kind of similar to that,
I agree
too.
this year.
Jared Goff and
well, we
Carson
went off
Wentz.
on that already.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like on a normal draft or another draft class, some of these guys wouldn't even get the same press clippings that they are right now.
They would be second rounders.
Exactly.
And this year you had some, not only first rounders, but the number 1 and number 2 pick who were good.
They are good.
I get that, but look at LSU. You didn't look at a championship team, a team that went deep into the tournament or anything like that, but their player was the number 1 overall pick. So it was just kind of that, And I'll be honest with you, Adam, that's how I felt about the whole NBA season. There was this great excitement for a while, this great buzz, while the Golden State Warriors were chasing the record and all of that. But then we got into the playoffs, and they were in sludge fest all the way through.
Yeah.
Then on the other hand, you had the Cavaliers, who just kind of rolled through people. You had LeBron being big baby all year, right up until he gets up there and starts swearing during the parade when he's going there talking.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just.
Well, and then somebody ended up getting shot at the parade too.
That is so not funny. I did not mean to laugh.
No, but it kind of goes with the whole thing.
It's the whole thing. It's like, where is class and decorum to being a champion?
Right.
Right down to people getting shot. I mean, we had a major parade here for the Royals last year. Almost 1 million people in one spot. There weren't any incidences.
Well, even in Denver, when they won the Super Bowl, there were no incidences like that as well.
Maybe back to the point, Cleveland, you just don't know how to act.
I think that's been the case the whole time.
Never been there before, clearly.
Right.
So that being said, I just felt like the draft, unlike the NFL, where we have our Super Bowl in February, then the draft is like the last week of April or first weekend in May. That's a lot of time.
Sure.
The NBA, the finals, Game 7 was played Sunday. The draft is Thursday.
Yeah.
It's almost like the NBA was sick of themselves.
Yeah.
Just we're done.
Well, and to your point, kind of with the guys that were in this draft class, I think there were some good players, as you said, but I think it was kind of, to your point with the LSU thing, Ben Simmons was a great player in his own right, but the last player to get drafted, or at least within the first round, and his college team did make it to the tournament, was, I think it was either Byron Scott or one of the Lakers, one of the all-time Lakers.
Byron Scott.
Yeah, it was like one of those guys. So it's like, you have to go way back in the archives, is my point, to find a player like that. Not to saying that he's not deserving of being number
Ben
1.
Simmons is great. He was exciting to watch.
Overall, everyone's been talking about the shooting and how bad he really is as a shooter. And they say, well, you can develop that. Magic Johnson wasn't a great shooter, and then he turned into a decent, point guard and could, kind of shoot the rock.
And he's great on assists. He brings a lot of intangibles.
He's got a lot of talent. Yeah, and he's very in tune to the game. So I think that's fine. But I do agree, though, there isn't a D-Wade, LeBron, Carmelo class this year. There really isn't any of those guys that you could just sit there and be like, this guy. I do think Brandon Ingram is a good pickup for the Lakers. He's
I'm very happy
athletic.
for the Lakers to have picked him
Coach
up.
K produces good players, so that is a good. There's some things.
He's extremely young. He's 18 years old. Hopefully he's 19 by the time the season starts.
Super skinny, and he's got a lot of growth there.
Well, that's going to take a while for him to actually show fruit.
Sure.
The problem with Simmons, he's got to go to the 76ers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not like
hungry.
he's going. It's not like he's joining.
They're looking for him to save the franchise.
The Dubs or anything anything. He's got to go in there where a team where people 2 years ago were saying Kentucky could beat them.
Exactly.
Obviously, Kentucky couldn't have, but the point was they were that bad that people were saying that.
Which I think tells you more about the Philadelphia 76ers as an organization and not so much about just the player itself. And so that's just kind of what that is right there. And I agree. I think it was just overall kind of I don't want to say a letdown, but maybe it
was a letdown.
A blip. It was, it wasn't great.
It wasn't, you follow this Game 7, which, then the Cavs won. Let me roll my eyes, whatever. But then you go to the draft, and it was just a little bit, like I said, just wah-wah is the way I felt about it. And now that's over, here's the funny part. I'm watching the series, NBA, and I keep seeing them promoting the WNBA Sparks game. They kept trying to get you excited about the WNBA, and you've been watching the WNBA lately.
I have been, yes.
Are you excited about that?
It is really hard to sit here and say what I'm getting ready to say, but I'm not that excited to continue to watch these games. And maybe I shouldn't say that, but I did watch the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx game 2 weeks ago. And it was one of their first games. And, there's some big-time stars for both teams. Maya Moore is, we all know she's a great basketball player, and others. But it just didn't seem very smooth. It seemed just very helter-skelter, if you will. And I don't know why that is. They are professionals. They're very good. They're athletic. But it just wasn't there. And so me trying to be a sports fan, really get into it, because I'm all about Title IX. I love women's sports. I'm all about that. You love
women?
I love women. And so I want to support anything that's going on, and especially on the professional level here in America. It was just really tough to watch.
Well, the truth of the matter is a UConn women's game is a lot more exciting than almost any WNBA game.
Which is terrible to say, but that's tough to say, but it's true. It's true. At this point in time, everybody on UConn's team. You go to the WNBA, you're like,
you may know one
or
player.
Two players.
And there's some teams, who's the team in Tulsa? Do they still have Brittany Griner?
No, she's in Phoenix, but so again, you just have to sit there and say, am I going to tune in to watch Brittany Griner take on the Tulsa team, or am I going to watch a baseball game? Which back in the day,
a choice.
Well, I don't know there,
Although
but now you're kind of saying
baseball
is now starting to kind of take that role. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I want to just say, so that you don't sound like, oh, this guy's downing WNBA. I feel the same way. I played the game. And it is really hard to watch. And I don't know if it's just a lack of superstars, or if it's almost, it used to be, oh, this is the fundamental game. Well, now they're trying to get out of the fundamentals and pick up the pace, and now it's just helter-skelter. There's bad passes. The defenses are not good. The scoring level is that of like what you'd see on I don't want to say junior college level, but the games aren't scored well. It's
what you see is a lot of 1-on-5 ball, and that's what I saw. I saw a lot of shots by Maya Moore trying to be the all-star, and to her credit, she was dishing the ball off. She was doing a lot of good things on offense and defense, but it really just seemed
she's the only one doing it.
Yes, and it just didn't seem like there was a lot of cohesion. It just they weren't playing clean basketball.
Well, here's my question. I don't know how you can tell what team you're watching, because they are so logoed up. You don't know what city you're watching.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I had to pause the game just to sit there and say, where is the actual team logo? It's crazy. I don't know what's going on with that. We're going to talk about that in another segment, actually. We'll get to that later on, but it is a problem.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm actually relieved that the NBA season is over. We can start talking about other things. It felt tense. It felt long. It felt really like a letdown at the end, right through the draft. WNBA is on. I can't really get into it, so I'm glad we can kind of talk about
our basketball woes are very real here, people.
Basketball woes are over.
Hoping for the Olympics to get started so we can see our all-stars take on the other countries in the Olympics. So we'll see how that works out. But with that, we do want to say we appreciate your time, and we hope that you continue to tune in for us here on OTD. It's another great day, so we'll just keep you posted, and we appreciate your time, folks.